Hi, my name is Curtis Apia. Today I'll be speaking about the exoskeleton model, and I'll be comparing the series elastic actuator and the quasi direct drive actuator. Um, so one thing you see about the exoskeleton is this is the a definition for an exoskeleton, but the main thing we focus on is providing support and protection. So as we go into depth, we see that over years there have been many advancements of exoskeletons since it's been become implemented into everyday's world. But one of the main issues was metabolic cost, which is essentially how it affects the user while they're using the exoskeleton. And in 2013, Malcolm et al., or Malcolm and his research and colleagues, broke the barrier of metabolic cost, and they were able to, and then from then on, they kind of set the trend for so many other researchers. But after breaking the barrier, that was not only the only thing that was left. The actuator became an important component to consider. So we see that there are three different types of actuators, or three paradigms of actuators: conventional, series elastic, and quasi-direct drive. The difference between the three of these is that conventional is simply does not have any user input into it, or unless the user is behind the computer. The series elastic, it goes onto the um, it fits onto the user, but it actually acts as a you know as a full body thing. And the quasi direct drive is different, is much more lightweight. So here we see how the three of them compare. And one thing you begin to see is that the series elastic actuator has good benefits, but it is high in mass, and that becomes a problem. And one thing that's important about the actuators is that it is what produces the final force to move a component up, to move the exoskeleton. In that case, we see that the quasi-direct drive actuator is actually the best actuator out there. It has a high back drivability, it has a high bandwidth, and it has a low mass. That means it is able to be used by users without them, without affecting their metabolic cost as much as the other two. So now we get down to the specifics between the two of them. And based on some of the results I ran through MATLAB and Simulink, I was able to see that there are certain differences that occur between the two. Um, this is the series elastic actuator, and it shows the torque control. So it shows that even as time goes on, or as the frequency increases, there is less torque control. The torque control um, is goes to a minimum, um, or it descends at a higher pace. I increase the PID. So on the right hand side is what is the result of increasing the PID, and I see that it becomes more steady, but however, it is still decreasing at a rapid pace. And now we compare that to the QDD, quasi-direct driver, and we see that the torque control is much more controlled. That it stays above negative, or is it? Yeah, it stays. It doesn't descend that much, and that causes it to be more usable and more user friendly. And I'll end it off with here. One thing I learned in this class, I learned that how powerful an Arduino is. I never thought that Arduino could be used so powerfully, and to power up an exoskeleton. I was actually talking to my friend about it, that's doing finance, and he was so amazed at it, and I was also amazed with it because we're discussing how a simple code or a lengthy code can, program these things and really help out. And one thing that I really learned from like reading a lot of the articles or the reports is that how mm, um, the exoskeletons still have yet to break through into the industry, and how many different components come into play to in order to make it an actual thing. For example, more healthcare workers need to accept it. Social work, social workers need to accept it. Industry designers need to incorporate buildings or create designs that have um, that'll accommodate people with exoskeletons. And that is just something that I learned, and that's something that I hope to take on into the future, and even as I continue my career. Thank you, and have a great day.